Thank you for coming to the channel. I've got two projects I've got to do today on a 2004 Pontiac, Montana. Coming right up. There we go. Got a few repairs today on the Pontiac, Montana, the 2004 Pontiac, Montana. Let me show you what I'm going to try to do. Okay, so problem number two I need to work on today is I pulled into Lowe's Home Improvement the other day. Pulled into my parking spot, decided I was going to back up just a little bit more. I think I went a little bit too far into this parking spot in front of me. So I went to put it in reverse and the shifter just broke. It just went all the way down, all the way up. There was just no resistance there whatsoever. And the Pontiac, Montana was stuck in reverse. So I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, oh man, there's always something. That's the thing about an older vehicle. If you want to have an older vehicle like this, you got to plan on things are going to break down. And remember, every time you fix them, that makes them brand new. At least that part is brand new and it'll last a long, long time. So I don't mind doing that. It's just a little bit frustrating. From the inside of the vehicle, I tried to get underneath the dashboard, get my head back by the brake pedal, look up and try to see if something maybe come loose underneath there. It did not. And I almost got stuck. Seriously, I was in between the seats, laying down, my head's in the floorboard, looking up, and I almost got stuck between the seats. Had my phone within reach, I guess I'd call 911 and have them come and bring the jaws of life. And what happened was, down on the transmission, you have a lever. And the lever has a little ball sticking out of it. And I'm going to show you a picture of that in just a minute. Well, your cable for your shifter, it's a shifter cable. Your cable goes down and has a little black tip on it that actually fits on top of that ball that's sticking out of that lever. So you got a lever, a ball, and then the cable comes and sticks on top of it. Okay, so there is your cable with that black connection on top of it, and there's the lever that's coming off your transmission. And that cable, the black connection, is actually sitting on top of the ball that is connected to the lever. In order to get home, I just took the cable and popped it back on the ball. Then I was able to shift to Montana and get it on home. I'm going to try to secure that a little bit better so that doesn't pop off again. But if it ever happens to you, and for some reason the cable will not pop back up on that lever, you can always reach down there. Now be very, very careful. But you could always make sure your emergency brake on, and it would be even better if somebody was sitting in the vehicle with their foot on the brake. But you could reach down there, literally put your lever in park, start your vehicle up. Once again, totally, completely dangerous. But if you had somebody sitting in there with their brake on or the emergency brake and your emergency brake worked good, you could literally reach down in there, shift it into drive, get back in your vehicle in order to get you home. That would be for an emergency situation. Only way that you can get home. That would work, but once again, caution, caution, caution. That would be a very dangerous. What happens is after a while, they start to wear out. There's a little bit of a compression gasket inside that cable, the top of that cable, and it's supposed to go down and click on that ball. Well, after a while, they start to wear off, and what had happened was that had popped off. So I could see my cable laying down there. I could see the ball down there, but they were disconnected. Thank you very much to my uncle. I called him. He's an expert mechanic. He knew exactly what the problem was. I got out of the vehicle, lifted the hood, got my flashlight, looked down in there. Sure enough, there it was right there. So thank you very much, Uncle. I appreciate that greatly. Reached down in there. I noticed where the lever and the ball position was and where the cable had stopped and popped off, they weren't lining up. I got back in the vehicle and I made sure my emergency brake was on. Now that is very, very important that the emergency brake is on if you try something like this. Then I got back out, reached down in there. That shifter lever, you can actually grab it with your fingers and you can turn it. Or you can make it go up into park, or you can make it go all the way down into low. You can actually shift your transmission back and forth. Now, I would imagine you can do that as long as you're on a level surface. If you were parked at any kind of an angle, I think there'd be a lot of tension in that, and it'd probably be a lot harder to do. But because it was perfectly level, I was able to take that lever, reach down in there. The reason the lever and the cable wasn't matching is because I had went ahead and put it up into park from the inside, but the lever was still in reverse where it had popped off. I reached down in there and I grabbed the lever with my fingers and I pushed it up into park. Now my cable was able to go on top of it, and I set it on top of it, pushed it down, and it popped back on that ball. Problem solved. I was able to get home. It's been working ever since. This has only been a couple days. I haven't drove it much, just a little bit, and it's working fine. I'm going to get down in there and I'm going to secure that cable to that ball and that lever to make sure that doesn't happen again. Now, I'm not going to replace that gasket today because there's videos on you can actually take that little black cap that's on the cable and you can lift it up, and there's a little tool that you use. You put it in there and you can punch out that gasket that's on the inside. You can actually install a new gasket, squeeze it together, pop it on there, ready to go. I'm not going to do that today. I am going to put a little bit of a device on there to make sure that the cable and the ball stay together. When I talk about reaching down there and grabbing that lever and moving that transmission, shifting that transmission by your hand, I'm literally speaking from experience when I say how dangerous that could be. Literally 40 years ago, here in southern Indiana, we have what they call stripper pits. And it's where they've dug the coal out of the ground, it fills up with water, and it makes beautiful little lakes all over the place. We were just in high school, and I had an F-150, a 1972 Ford F-150. In order to get up to where you could actually dive off, there was a hill, and I pulled my truck up at an angle like this and parked, and we all got out and swam for a few hours. When I got back in the truck, I went to shift it, broke, nothing. There I was stranded with my friends, Mr. Alan Calvert. He said, hey, I know what you can do. Crawl underneath the vehicle and you'll see the linkage. If you grab the linkage and you go to pull it, it'll shift for you and we can get home. Hey, great plan. I had no idea what I was doing. And I literally crawled underneath that F-150 where I was actually laying underneath the vehicle and the front tire was right against my side right here. Thank goodness, guardian angel, Mr. Calvert himself, had decided to sit in the driver's seat and put his foot on the brake. That is what saved my life, because I literally got underneath there, reached up in there, not knowing exactly what I was looking for, saw something that looked like linkage, went to grab it, pulled it down, bam! The truck went into neutral, the truck started to slide back, came right against my side. Alan had his foot on the brake, it slid and stopped, and was literally touching my t-shirt. That would have been bad. That would have probably been the end of Mr. Lawrence. If you go messing around with your transmission and you do it manually like that, especially if you're underneath the vehicle or even if you're on the outside of the vehicle, make sure somebody's with you, because that could be very, very dangerous. To go back to the shifter cable that has come off, let's see if I can get a light down in here so you can see. Inside of the cap on the cable that snaps on the ball that is on the lever, there's a gasket that you can replace. You can pop it off and put a new gasket in there, squeeze it on, it's compression fit, and then it pops back on the ball. For right now, I didn't have one of those. I'm probably going to go ahead and order one, but just for like a little bit of a safety, what I did was I took a little, what's called Bright Eyes. It's a little tiny, for lack of a better word, bungee cord. It's made out of a wire with rubber coating on it. Went ahead and wrapped that around, and you can see it's wrapped around the cable and it's wrapped around the arm, and it's just kind of like a little bit of a safety. A rubber band might do the same thing. I was a little worried a rubber band may get hot and melt. This ought to hold up a little bit better until I can fix it the correct way. So in a jam, this is one way to take care of your shifter cable that has popped off the lever on your transmission. And now it should work okay. So in case you have that problem, there's how you get to it. Okay, so ideally that's not the best way to fix that cable. You know, sometimes, especially like myself, I travel so far out in the wilderness in areas that a lot of times there's not even cell service. You get out there and something like this happens, you got to be able to fix it. So you got to be able to try to figure it out. I hope that's about all that's going to go wrong with the Montana, but you never know what tomorrow will bring. Together we roam beautiful roads, United States of America. So I appreciate you coming to the channel. That's LAF Space Film Fest. That's capital LAF Space Film Fest. All right, Montana. Like we talked before, it's a 2004. It's got some years on it. Things are going to break down. But hey, I tell you what, I'm going to keep her. And I'm going to keep fixing her up. Because she is a good vehicle. And she is so comfortable to drive. Oh my. It's like you're sitting in a lazy boy cruising down the highway. Can camp in it, sleep in it. Got my office set up inside it. It works great for my painting vehicle. Hauls all my equipment. 2004, you're doing all right. I'm going to keep working on you, keep fixing her up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. And you